que hay que darle con calma. Todo lo que hago siempre lo hago con ganas. Estas letras que yo escribo vienen del alma. Yo sé bien lo que es perder y sentir el karma. La vida me ha enseñado que hay que darle con calma. Todo lo que hago siempre lo hago con ganas.
Hay que saber orar, pero más que nada creer en ti mismo. Sirve rezar, pero tú eres tu Dios y no caes en el abismo. Sigue tu instinto con seguridad, alberga optimismo. La vida es un rap, solo tienes que ponerle ritmo.
Sigo firmemente, compa, echándole ganas. Andamos pa' adelante, loco, no entiendo vaina. Vamos elevando, honesto es lo que le escala. En esta vida hay que tener respeto y palabra. Mi círculo puros reales, no gente barata. Ando tras el pan de cada día y la plata. Siempre ando truchas porque todo lo que brilla, compa, no es oro. Na, na, na. Sigo metiéndole duro porque he sentido pobreza y hambre. Cambié mi vida pa' que Dios me bendiciera. No voy a parar aunque las puertas se cierran. Mi frente levantada y mis pies en la tierra. Estas letras que yo escribo vienen del alma. Yo sé bien lo que es perder y sentir el karma. La vida me ha enseñado que hay que darle con calma. Todo lo que hago siempre lo hago con ganas. Estas letras que yo escribo vienen del alma. Yo sé bien lo que es perder y sentir el karma. La vida me ha enseñado que hay que darle con calma. Todo lo que hago siempre lo hago con ganas.
Esto es Yung Profhet, Luca, haciendo conexiones del Distrito Federal, Detroit. One love, puros OG.
Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos, yo sé que estás ahí y me escuchas. Me he sentido débil, mentalmente sigo fuerte, pero a veces hay que desahogarse. Aquí me desahogo en el micrófono. DVR, let's go.
Antes me estresaba porque no llegaba fama. Esa madre nomás trae un chingo de drama. La vida me enseñó que el respeto y la familia lo más importante que uno tiene en la vida. Ahora pienso en generar un poco de cifras. Ahora todos juzgan si no te la rifas. Te ven abajo y siempre te critican, pero ven la feria y se animan. Has tenido un nudo en la garganta porque estás quebrado y no tienes plata. Maldito el hombre que confía en otro hombre. Tiran las piedras pero la mano esconden, aunque su envidia me ronde. Yo sé que mi Diosito me cuida y me esconde. He perdido todo pero no pasa nada. Siempre firme con la frente levantada. Has sentido la presión, ansias en tu mente, sucesos de la vida que cambian de repente. Soy hombre de palabra, siempre doy la frente. Golpes de la vida te hacen sabio y aprendes. No todos son leales, ladran y no muerden. Me gusta lo real, eso nunca va a cambiar. Quiero feria y respeto, siempre fue el plan. Subir la escalera donde no te pueden alcanzar.
Yo, yes, DM, where you at?
Eso nunca paro hasta que vaya a descansar. Cuidado carnal, ya nadie te da un consejo. Mírate al espejo, mira tu reflejo.
Vermont, beautiful venue, net sky.
La vida te castiga y lo sientes ya de viejo. No callo lo que siento, siempre me expreso. Aunque la verdad duela es parte del proceso. Dios me enseñó el camino y la puerta. Si yo me siento débil me pongo a rezar.
that goes down in my hood.
In my hood.
Them boys up to no good in my hood.
In my hood.
Big chopper with the wood in my hood.
Pow, pow, pow.
Boy, I wish pussy would in my hood.
In my hood.
Is this shit that goes down in my hood?
In my hood.
Them boys up to no good in my hood.
In my hood.
Big chopper with the wood in my hood.
Pow, pow, pow.
Boy, I wish a pussy would in my hood.
In my
Wanna be a leader, I'm paving my own lane. Plotting these boss moves, bringing something new to the game. Ain't no competition, boy, we ain't the same. I'm living my best life, can you see the vision? Fuck the fame, getting fatty the mission. Cooking flames on these beats, chef, prop in the kitchen. You spitting that new wave, I'm spitting the realness. Young Mexicano that was raised in the mitten. Salute to the real ones, swerve to the fake ones. Find your own lane, stop talking that fake shit. Me and King caught up in, rocking a long way. We some hood Mexicans trying to get paid. These haters talking tough, you could tell that they miss me. I've been with the real ones, they ain't against me. Trying to make it to the top, call me the money man. They rapping for fun, I'm trying to count up 100 bands.
Is this shit that goes down in my hood?
In my hood.
Them boys up to no good in my hood.
In my hood.
Big chopper with the wood in my hood.
Pow, pow, pow.
Boy, I wish pussy would in my hood.
In my hood.
Is this shit that goes down in my hood?
In my hood.
Them boys up to no good in my hood.
In my hood.
Big chopper with the wood in my hood.
Pow, pow, pow.
Boy, I wish a pussy would in my hood.
In my hood.
All about the money, I'm the chicken man. Peace so icy, fuck around and do the chicken dance. Gotta got to work, if I need guns, I call trigger man. It is rap shit, don't take off, I got a million plans. It's baby Yop that I got's my #1 companion. Trust no motherfucking soul and watch who you hang with. Cause my niggas do you dirty, leave your body mangled. Cause fucking with the mafia shit can get dangerous. In my hood, you see my raza hard working Mexicans, but they don't come out at night cause they know who the devils is. Motherfuckers get smoked in their own residence. Peel a nigga cap back for them dead presidents. Disrespect my brother Prophet, then you get handled. Lay your finger on my family, then you getting strangled. Never take no shit, I'm as real as it gets. Feeling like Chalino with this big ass 4/5. This the shit that goes down in my hood.
In my hood.
Them boys up to no good in my hood.
In my hood.
Big chopper with the wood in my hood.
Pow, pow, pow.
Boy, I wish pussy would in my hood.
In my hood.
This the shit that goes down in my hood.
In my hood.
Them boys up to no good in my hood.
In my hood.
Big chopper with the wood in my hood.
Pow, pow, pow.
Boy, I wish a pussy would in my hood.
In my hood.
Gracias a mi madre por estar ahí por mí cuando mucha gente perdió la fe en mí. No tenía a nadie cuando andaba en la calle, solo a mi madre pero nunca entendía. Le faltaba el respeto y todo me valía. Andaba perdido con las malas amistades. Es que nunca tuve padre que me enseñara cómo ser hombre, eso no tenía palabras. Por muchos años me sentía solo, lleno de tristeza, aún tenía tu apoyo. Aferrado y necio con mal comportamiento, esos solo eran mis malos pensamientos. Cuando yo andaba de loco y vagabundo, esos son los golpes que te da este mundo. Cada vez que me caía tú me alcanzabas, cuando estaba en el piso tú me levantabas. Le doy gracias a Dios, madre, que te tengo aquí conmigo. Acuérdense, mi gente, en este mundo, madre no más una.
Gracias a ti por estar aquí por mí. No sé qué sería de mí, no, sin ti, yeah. Mi vida no sería igual sin ti, mamá. Eres una reina, una mujer muy especial.
Muchas veces te fallé y no tenía razón. Desde el fondo de mi corazón te pido perdón, porque en este mundo, madre no más una. Mis respetos para ti porque eres única. Como has luchado lado en esta batalla que se llama vida y esa es la verdad. Para superarte tuviste que trabajar. Tú eres el ejemplo de una mujer fuerte. Me da mucho gusto que tuve la suerte de tener a alguien como tú que me enseñara las reglas de la vida que a veces son muy raras. Tienes que aprender por las buenas o las malas. Gracias a mi jefa por esos consejos que siempre me dio para nunca agüitarme. Te quiero decir que te escribo estas letras solo para decirte feliz Día de las Madres. Esta canción va dedicada para todas las madrecitas del mundo que le echan ganas y no se rinden. Sinceramente, Prophet y Sandy Love.
Gracias a ti por estar aquí por mí. No sé qué sería de mí, no, sin ti, yeah. Mi vida no sería igual sin ti, mamá. Eres una reina, una mujer muy especial.
This is an emergency. Tempo has reached critical level.
What is... Why isn't... What is going down, everyone? Welcome back to Tempo Talks. It has been a very long time since I dropped something. The very last episode was with D.E. Chi. Very amazing, awesome episode, very informative, awesome individual. But tonight I took a very long time off due to personal reasons, but we're back. And tonight I figured we would start this off again with a very special individual close to home. This man has been a mentor. He's been a very good friend, a brother to me. This man has taken care of me for the last 2.5 years, and I for many years more. Well, none other than Yung Profhet.
What's going on, man?
What's up, brother?
What's going on, Z? How's it going?
It's been rough.
Appreciate you having me, man.
It's been rough, but I appreciate you giving me your time, man. It's been a long time coming since we decided to do this. We tried to do this a couple months back on the internet, and it just
had technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties, exactly. But I figured, since you got the time and we can get you into the studio for, the hour that we usually do these, and let's do it. So,
Let's do it.
Obviously, you are very familiar with the show. We put you guys on the pedestal, kind of give you guys your own little limelight, give you your 15 minutes of fame to kind of describe who you are before you become,
Before you blow up.
Yeah, before you blow up. So, go ahead and introduce yourself, bro. Who are you? Where are you from?
Hey, what's going on, Raza? My name is Yung Profhet. I'm from Southwest Detroit. From Detroit.
Detroit.
313 in the building.
So, where did you grow up in Southwest Detroit?
Central and Verner.
Central and Verner. We just passed by that yesterday.
Central and Verner, man. That's where I grew up. That's my initials. Where I started was in Southwest Detroit. Was in Central and Verner. As a youngin, I lived in Mexico, but I was born and raised in Southwest Detroit.
Southwest Detroit.
Born in Henry Ford.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So, where did mom and pops meet?
Mom and pops met in Ciudad Guzman, Jalisco. So that's Jalisco, pretty much where they met, and the rest is history from there. So,
and then here comes Prophet.
And then here comes little mocoso Prophet.
Where'd you go to school? For elementary.
Elementary school, I went to Cesar Chavez.
Cesar Chavez.
Did
you go all the way through, or did you?
Well,
what about middle school?
I dropped out in high school.
High school.
And then I got into some trouble, and then I went to Job Corps. Flint. I was in Flint for like 3 years over there.
Damn.
Yep. Then after that, I went to New Jersey, and then I studied over there for a little bit.
Oh shit.
But never completed high school. GED, baby. Get your GED.
Hey, it's a good enough diploma, right?
Yeah, get your damn GED.
Tell me about it. No, yeah, I dropped out too, bro. So I'm on that same boat. I just got to get my shit taken care of. So what about high school?
High school just didn't.
I'm sorry, my bad. You did say high school. My bad. Duh.
Stay in high school, kids. Don't follow my path. Go to school. Stay in high school. Go to college.
So, before we get into the music, what were some of the some personal issues that had arose during your childhood that you felt kind of shaped you into the person you are today?
Dad left at an early age, so that kind of left me on my own with moms and my brother and my sister. So that kind of pushed me to to try to be the big brother, right? But a lot with that comes trouble getting in trouble. Mom worked 2-3 jobs all the time, so she was never home. So we didn't really have a role model, right? The role models that you had were with your homies in the streets. You go out and hang out with the homies, and those were your role models, right? So I feel every situation that I've been through in life has molded me or prepared me for a certain situation, whether it being good or bad, right? So, that's what I gotta say about that.
Right. So when did music pique your interest?
Music. Well, I'd have to say like 2010. 2010, my mom bought me a little beat machine, I guess you could say, right? So then that's how I started getting into music, and then there was a studio, Silent Riot, back in the day where I'd go to record, and that's where I started just trying to learn how to make beats and stuff like that. Because initially I wanted to be a DJ. That's at that time that was a goal of mine. I really loved the DJ part, I remember back in the day, actually, my mom bought me some techniques, DJ techniques, because I was like, Mom, I really want that. So she worked really hard to buy me these DJ techniques, and I had them in the basement, and she used to say, turn that crap off, you know what I mean? You're making too much damn noise, I'm trying to sleep. But she bought me those techniques, and that's how I started getting into music, and that's when The Game dropped the documentary, 50 Cent dropped the Massacre and stuff like that. So those was things that I used to listen to. I used to go to Planet Rock.
Planet Rock was
all the time,
shit, bro.
That's where I used to buy my music. So that's how I started getting into music, right? And then when I was in Mexico, when I was a little kid, I used to write Vicente Fernandez songs on paper because I wanted to learn the songs, right? Because my grandma, she used to sing to us and stuff like this. So that's how I think that's how I got into music initially as a young kid.
Right.
And then my mom would always play music when she cleaned the house. All
Typical.
the time,
Typical. Yeah, yep.
cumbias and
The
rancheras.
typical mom music.
So that I think a lot of that molded, kind of inspired the music. I used to watch BET all the damn time.
BET was the shit too.
MTV.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the rappers and you see the music and then you listen to it.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I was listening to more East Coast.
Yeah.
Nas, Biggie, Rakim, Big L. Those were some of the initial kind of music that I was listening to. Big JP, one of the first Mexican rap CDs that I bought at Delia's.
Yep, Delia's Fashion.
Yep, one of the first CDs, a Kilo CD. So there was a couple. My mom bought me a Quinto Sol CD.
Quinto Sol,
so then
yeah.
I started listening to Mexican rap. Because when I was in Mexico, I didn't listen to Mexican rap. Any rap at all. I was like, what is this?
Right.
We'd listen to rancheras.
Rancheras, right?
Rancheras. That's what we grew up on as little kids. And then when we came to the States, my cousin Gotti actually gave me my first rap CD. So burn CD with Dr. Dre and all this type of music, right? So that's how I started listening to that.
Hey. So what about music kind of just drew you towards it? Like there's obviously one thing about everything in the world that draws your attention to it. Whether it could be the structure of music, it could be the way it's played, it could be the way it's sold. What is your favorite part of music, the favorite part that drew you towards it? Because like I said, there's other people that have come into the music business and they don't see music, they see money. Or they don't see music, they see networking, they see something else. You know what I'm saying? So like, what's the one thing about music that drew you to it?
See, when I was doing music, when I first started doing music, when I was like, I'm gonna get in the studio, I was off beat, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? When I got in, I did it for more of the creativity and the de-stress of writing music, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was more of the creativity part of it. So at that point, you're like, you don't know if you're gonna make music, you don't know if people are gonna buy your CDs,
right?
Because at that time, there was no Spotify, or there was, but I didn't have access to upload my music as easily as it is now,
right?
So you did music because I did music because I wanted to de-stress from life.
Right.
And I just wanted to record it. I got the opportunity to record, right? And I would go in there, it would take me 2 hours to record a song. And I was paying $50 an hour. So you had to pay to play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me it was more the creativity part of putting something together,
right?
Or putting that out to the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Now that we're on that, the whole creativity part, what are some of the weaknesses that you're currently working on right now with music? Where's somewhere that you feel like you could be better, or you have an opportunity to excel in?
Well, you're always gonna criticize. You're gonna be your worst critic.
Worst critic
in life and anything you do in life. You're gonna be your worst critic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's finding the time to create, because once you get older, you got responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? You got things you need to do. You have to live, right? You have to get money,
right?
So sometimes the music gets put behind. So it's more finding the time. I think I finally got my craft where I want it to be.
Right.
I finally can sit down and write a track. I can sit down and I finally found my way, or what I want to write about. Mm-hmm. I think I'm closer to God now, right?
Yeah.
So I feel for me the hardest thing right now is finding the time.
The time. What is your least favorite thing about music?
Least favorite, I would say not the competitiveness, because hip hop is always going to be competitive, but I think the hate the game has now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be yourself now. Some people can't be themselves. So for me, I don't really I like to be in my own lane. I like to do things my way, and I'm not gonna listen to anybody. And if you don't like the music, good. If you like it, perfect.
Thank you. Right.
So much respect to all the artists doing the things out there. But I think for me, it's just the hatred. You don't see it in pop music, you don't see it in country, but hip hop, there's too much of that.
It's kind of one thing I will say about that is confrontation goes hand in hand with hip hop, like how alcohol and drugs and guns and stuff, like, I mean, it's just they go hand in hand with each other, dude. I don't know why, God knows why, but like you said, you don't see it in pop, you don't see it in country, you don't see it in rock, none of that. So I can understand where you're coming from right there. What about your favorite thing about music?
I think the favorite thing for me is I zone out. I forget. It's like time stops. It's I have the equalizer moment,
right,
where everything stops for a second or for however long I work on it. So I enjoy that aspect. I'm having a bad day, I start listening to beats, right, music. It's just like an instinct,
right.
So I think for me, it's more of a therapy. So I feel like if I'm going through a bad day, I might write a song I'll never release today or ever, because there's some crazy thoughts in those those lyrics, right? But I think it's more of a therapy for me than anything.
It's a therapeutic process for you, huh? Yeah. Now we're talking about a process and the way you create. Talk about that process. Can you explain your creative process? How do you go about creating music? Do you have to set a mood first, or light some candles, smoke a joint, like, have a beer? Like, everybody has a different way of accessing their creative mindset.
Funny enough, I'll listen to YouTube beats in the car, and then might come up with a hook while I'm driving the car.
Right.
Then when I get home, I'll write it down. So I can write anywhere in the basement. It doesn't really matter. It's just me being in the mood to write. So I don't really have a time or a day, but the process is more, I start to freestyle.
Right, yeah.
So when I start to freestyle, but I have to listen to a beat. So some people might write their music and then listen to the beat later. I like to listen to the beat, freestyle. If something comes out that I like, then I write it down, and then that's how my process starts working. Then I like my stuff structured, right?
Right.
I write either a 12 or a 16, right? So I like to make sure that the beats that I'm listening to are structured.
Structured that same way.
If they're not structured, then I might need further instruction.
Right.
How do you want your song? How do you want me to write your song? You want me to do 8 bars? All right, let me count 8 bars.
8 bars, exactly.
So that's it's more structured with me.
Right. How about some let's talk about some musicians that inspire you. I know there's probably like a ton of them in your head, and you're a huge hip hop head. But give me like the top 5, like the 5 that you admire the most.
5 that I admire the most at this time, huh? Dead or alive?
It doesn't matter, dead or alive.
Dead or alive. Biggie Smalls for sure.
Obviously.
Yeah, people always go Tupac or Biggie. I'm a big.
I'm a big fan. Thank you.
I'm a big fan of Biggie. I don't care what anybody says. Big Pun.
Okay.
I like Big Pun. He's short-lived, right? But I always liked him. I really, who I really like? Conejo.
Okay.
When I got to finally meet Conejo in person, and just that dude is a workhorse, man. Shout out to the SKM family. Shout out to Conejo. But man, that dude, the way he writes and stuff, so that was a big inspiration to see working with him in the studio. We could get to that later.
Yeah.
He's another one. JP.
Yep.
A good friend of mine. Not just because he's a friend of mine, because he's just humble dude, man. Has classics. I like listening to those classics. Capone. The big homie Capone. Raza for life. Shout out to him. So those few that I like. My man's King Quota. Shout out to Quota. Me and him, kind of came up in the game, I rock with his music, He released a couple good tracks recently, and all the DBR family too, right? I listen to everybody's music,
right?
Locally, I might not know you, but if I like I'll buy music. Local artists release music. I just randomly buy music once in a while. You know?
No, that's love.
So
That's
Southwest
love.
Detroit, I'm buying music. If you release an album, I'll buy it. I might listen to it 2 weeks later. But I always try to support with buying somebody's music, right? Everybody streams, but what about spending $1, right?
Yeah, it's only a
$1
buck.
might go a long way.
Yeah, it's only a buck.
So
Yeah, man. So we heard some big names in there, like JP, Capone, and Conejo. What are some of the qualities that you admire about them? Obviously, Conejo is his work ethic.
right.
JP, obviously, you did mention something about him, obviously being a very humble person. Capone.
Capone's just a big brother, man. Shout out to the homie Caps, you know. Talk to him often, you know.
Mhm.
He's a good dude, man. He's a Southwest Detroit staple.
Like
Not
a mentor, right?
Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that either until when he came for the show.
Yep.
Him and JP came, and he had got on stage, and he was like, "Oh, you know, I'm from South." I did not know that, bro.
Yep.
Did not know that at all.
Yeah, so Capone, he's the big homie, you know. Shout out to him. JP, you know, that's the homie too.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He's a good dude, and he works hard,
yeah,
and he's very attention to detail.
yes,
That's very important. Where we're
Yes.
working on a song and we're working on something and he says I'm gonna get to you. If it takes him 6 months to get a track back, that's okay with me. Cuz sometimes you need to be in a certain mood
mm-hmm.
and you need to be in a certain mentality. I forgot to say that. You got to be in a certain mentality to write certain songs. I'm not going to write a club song for you,
Right.
right? Because I'm not in the club mentality. But you want me to write a song about life? I got you right now. I'm in that mode. Right.
I'm going through something right now I can talk about. Yeah.
So that I really admire that about JP.
Now, I love how JP keeps coming up, dude. And I can't even imagine how it felt to be able to sit down with JP and work with him in the same room. And how did that feel, bro? Like, how was your first reaction to talking to him, meeting him in person? Like, how was that?
It was just like you see the name, right? You see the name and then you see him on TV and all that, right? So you kind of have like a fan moment in your head. But when you meet JP for the first time, like when I met JP for the first time, it was more of a, hey, what's going on, man? Like me and you are talking.
Right.
So it made you feel more comfortable that he's just one of the homies.
Like more personable than anything.
Yeah, right. Because there's certain artists you meet and it more standoffish. So that's you're like, okay, so he's not that type of guy or she's not that type of person. So I think he was a humble dude, and then we just kind of clicked, right? So we did the song "Súbele al Volumen." We kind of did that, and I flew out to California, and we did that, and that was a wonderful experience, right? And then we got the song we're working. We released it a while back. No me rendiré.
Yep.
So we're trying to get the video done for that. So me and him, we got a couple things going. Elder, let me not forget about Elder at Futuristico, the guy that's been producing all my stuff lately. So he's a workhorse too. You know, dedication. Like you see these people, like we got all these excuses, right? Like, man, I'm busy. I got this going on, and then you see these dudes just creating, just making music.
There's
right?
no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There isn't.
So it's just making time.
Yeah,
But
that's all it really. And like how going back to earlier, time management with it, finding the right time frame to be able to create.
right.
You know what I mean? I can relate to that. I understand. You know, working 40 hours a week on top of shooting music videos and podcasting and all. It's you know it gets to you, man. Let's talk about performing, dude, because you've been all over the place. Let's talk about the very first time you performed. I want to know how you felt, where it was at, who you performed with. I want the whole shindig, bro.
I'm trying to think.
Because there's been so many places you've been to, so I can only imagine, bro. Like,
Shout out to my dog, Sacramento Knox. What up, SK? I think it was one of his events. It was at Clark Park, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was one of those events that I first Very first time that I performed was at the park.
Oh wow, in front of everybody like
Well,
that.
there was moms and kids,
But I mean,
and I'm
still.
over there performing, mi barrio, and there's a bunch of people everywhere. So I think that was one of the first events that I did.
How were you feeling that day? How were you?
I was feeling nervous.
I was gonna say.
I was like, am I gonna mess up? Damn, did I learn the song? So it was just, yeah, I was nervous more than anything, right?
What about let's talk about your favorite venue to perform at, or your favorite venue you've performed at.
Favorite venue. That's a good question. There's a lot of them.
That's what I'm saying. There's a bunch of them you've been to.
I can't think of the names right now, to be honest with you. But there was a show I did with Hollywood. Shout out to Jared Hollywood, Chicago. It was with me and Swan Solo, and we were opening up for Little Rob and MC Magic.
Oh my god.
And Aquid.
Oh my god.
So that was probably one of the best venues, or one of my favorite shows that I performed at. It was a packed house.
It was full, huh?
It was packed. It was packed to capacity, and I wasn't even performing a set, right? It was just I was performing a song that I had with Swan Solo.
Right.
So that was one of my favorite shows.
You were just able to be a part of, huh?
Was able to be a part of. Chicago Street TV, I was with him that day. So we were interviewing MC Magic, so I got to meet all those people. So it was a beautiful experience.
Oh man, that's so cool, man. Now, what about, I know everybody always remembers their least favorite venue. The one venue that will go down in history in your head as the worst venue or the worst performance that you've ever had.
Well, I'm not going to say worst venue because, I'll probably say that the performance, probably the Aquid show. I think I wasn't a 100% that day. My voice kind of went out.
Which one, though? The Chicago one or the Detroit one?
Detroit one.
The Detroit one?
Yep, so I think that was one of the shows that I just wasn't at my 100%. I was running around trying to get everything done because I wasn't just performing that day, right?
Yeah, you were.
So I was all over the place. You remember, you were there.
Yeah, I was there with you,
So I think that was one of my least favorite performances because, like, people were there watching me, right? They were coming to see me, so I feel like I kind of disappointed some people, right? But you learn from your mistakes.
You live and you learn, yeah. So what are some things that you would practice to help with your performances? Performance anxiety, I should say. Is there any kind of breathing practices? Any kind of, there's a bunch of different methods that people use. There's people that pray. There are people that that'll eat a certain food before they go on, drink a certain drink. Superstition. Is there anything like that when it comes to performing for you? I mean, even athletes do it. Athletes do it, and
Yeah.
I've heard plenty of musicians have superstitions too.
I think before you would perform, and you wouldn't practice. You're like, oh, I'm gonna perform, get on, and if you forget your words, you forget your shit, you're done, right?
Mm-hmm.
I try to practice now, right? I try to practice at least 2 weeks before my show. There's songs that I know by heart, but there's songs that I need to practice. So practicing, making sure your music is on point. But for me, is not drinking any cold water.
Cold water?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I think cold water messes up your vocal cords. So I try to stay hydrated the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the problems I had before was I drink a lot of beer. When you drink a lot of beer, it messes up your voice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, I try to stay hydrated from start to finish now. I try to stay mentally focused. I don't think I get nervous anymore when I get on stage.
No, I wouldn't expect you to, bro. I mean,
I don't.
I mean, you've been doing this for how long now? And if you get on stage and I'd be mad at you if you did.
So,
I'd be upset with you.
I feel more comfortable getting the mic and getting on stage and performing now than in the past. But I think I have more of a selection of music to choose from now.
Yeah.
That I feel confident. So when I'm grabbing that microphone, it's a different zone. I'm looking at it. I used to wear glasses, and that was my Like that was my preparation. I'm gonna put my glasses on, and I might close my eyes, or I don't want people to see me. But now I don't wear glasses anymore. I want people to look me in the eyes, and I'm gonna look at you in the eyes because that's important. Eye
Yeah,
contact.
and you paid for this person to
Right.
potentially pay attention to you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the whole glasses, the Big Daddy glasses, and
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Oh man. So what are some qualities that you think makes a great artist, a great musician? What do you need as an artist in this day and age to be great?
I guess you gotta work hard.
The ethics and all that.
You gotta be you just gotta work hard at whatever you're trying to do. Whether you're a producer, you're an artist, you want to pursue movies, you want to paint, right? Because whatever it is, you have to dedicate time to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is the great Les Brown says? You don't have to be great, right? You could be great, but you're already great, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to start to be great. So you have to that dedication.
Right.
You gotta mold your craft. It's like a flower, dude. If you don't water, the flower is gonna die.
It's gonna die. Yeah.
So if you don't make time for your craft, you're never gonna be great.
Right.
Because people are like, oh, I'll shoot this music video and run a promotion behind it, and then what if the song does blow up, right? You have a hot song for the summer, but is that song gonna be timeless?
Nah, you gotta. How are you gonna back that up? You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do to back that up? There's only so much, clout behind one single. You know?
Right.
Yeah. You know. I get what you mean.
So the timeless part of it is that song gonna last the time?
Is that song gonna take care of you? Pretty much. Like.
No, like is that song gonna be played? Is it gonna be remembered a generation from now?
Right.
Like you listen to Tupac or you listen to Biggie, and those songs are still
They're timeless. Yeah.
they're timeless, right?
Yeah.
You know, just like a couple of the homies, you know, like Capone, JP, Conejo,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of the homies got songs that we listened to growing up, right? So those songs are timeless.
Mm.
So for me, I think that the younger generation or people are starting in the game, they got to focus on one, finding themselves.
Mm.
Who are you? Because at the end of the day, outside of music, I'm Jose,
Right.
a regular guy, right? But in music, I'm Young Prophet. So I'm a product because people consume my music, right?
Right.
So people have to think that. And you have to learn to separate your life persona from your music persona.
Right.
So I think just staying focused and writing music that's true to you. Don't follow the wave.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Because there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna listen to your music.
Right.
Whether it be 2 people, 3 people, 100 people, or eventually you might have a whole nation listening to your music. You might not blow up in the U.S.
Right.
You might blow up in Africa
Or Germany.
or Germany
Yeah.
or any other country. So you have to figure that out.
Right. So we've talked about a lot of people that you've kind of, I don't want to say kind of, but you've looked up to and admired. What about, has there been any people over the years in your musical career that have somewhat or kind of mentored you, that have kind of helped you along your way, help you pave your path along the way to where you are today? And they obviously, you don't have to go into huge detail, just some honorable mentions, you know, people that you feel like deserve that recognition in your career that helped you, you know what I mean? Any mentors?
I think early on, I think I got to give it up to King Quota. I feel like when he was starting off, I was kind of checking out.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you know what I mean? I was kind of done with it, trying to give it up early on. So I feel like he was one of the few people that were like, hey, we got to keep moving, or we got to keep it moving. So I feel like he's one of the few that kind of motivated me to keep going.
Right.
You know, so shout out to him. I think now I got to give it up to my man J.R. Hollywood too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he showed me a lot of the game too, like performing, stuff like that, and put me on big stages.
Mm-hmm.
That was that was that was a big brother move. So shout out to J.R. Hollywood and the whole Beat Crusher family. You know what I mean? One of the people that when I was first getting going to is Promo God. I don't know if you heard of her.
Promo.
She has a radio show. That's how I met.
Sounds familiar.
So shout out to Stephanie. So she kind of put me on and introduced me to a whole different genre of people, and that's how I met my homie the Davis Way. Make sure you get his new project right here, The Way of the Davis.
The Way of the Davis.
So that's how I met a lot of different people too. I think when I was first getting started too, Maserati Rick, he was kind of helping me out a lot in my initial starts too in 2011, 2010. So shout out to him. So if I forgot anybody, but shout out to everybody that's helped me get to this point where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest mentors is right this moment, I can honestly say, is the homie Elder. I think Elder has helped me tremendously perfect my craft. Shout out to my compa out there, Elder el Futuristico.
Mr. Futuristico.
That's my brother right there. And shout out to the homie the Davis Way too. He showed me a lot. He's mentored me in a lot of the behind the scenes part of how the music works.
Right.
Everybody thinks they know something, right? They think they know how the music works, but there's a lot of paperwork that goes behind that. So if anybody needs help with that, that's the man to talk to. I don't care what you see out there, what websites are gonna help you. Talk to that man right there.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Very knowledgeable when it comes to royalties and stuff like that. So like you said, tap in with him. He'll definitely take care of you.
Yep.
But so you did mention something about DJing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I myself DJ as a hobbyist and all that. What happened to that, bro? Like, are you still DJing? Do you practice still, or is it something that's just kind of like a hobby now, or?
So DJing, funny story on that. So we started DJing because we couldn't get DJs to show up to shows. So what do? You learn.
You do it yourself.
You gotta
yeah.
do it yourself. So that's because I already had some knowledge on how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then we started DJing on shows because we weren't gonna pay a DJ $500 to DJ. Screw that. So we started investing money into buying equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got into really DJing shows, and it went good for me for a little bit, and then I kind of just kept doing my thing.
Doing your thing.
But if I got the time and the right amount of money is given to me, I might come out of retirement.
He said, "I'm like," but you just did recently, didn't you? We just did the show at Simon's not too long before it closed, but
with the homie Dove.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my brother right there.
Yeah, how did that relationship sprout? Like, how did you guys meet, you and Dub? Because you guys have known each other for a long time.
Oh yeah.
You know.
So Dove, I showed up to one of his shows at Simon's After Dark. And then we kind of just linked up, and then we kept doing stuff together, and we kind of had a game plan, and we started as business partners, I guess you could say,
Mm-hmm.
and then we ended up staying good friends, so that's how that started.
Right.
We had a dream of putting shows together, so that's how that started. So shout out to the homie Dub.
What about with Hollywood? How did that happen? Because obviously you're from Detroit and Hollywood's from Chicago, so how did it's easier to meet a promoter here in the city, like how it happened with you and Dub. But the whole situation with you in Hollywood, how did that happen? Like, did you Did you travel to Chicago and so happen to like run into him, or?
So there was a time where I was trying to promote the Gutter Boys heavy. Shout out to my boy Gutter, homie Quota. So I was the promoter at that time.
Mhm.
So I was trying to put him on shows, and I was just trying to find different shows, different avenues to kind of get the music heard. So we ended up coming across. Actually, J.R. Hollywood hit me up in a message, says he was doing a showcase in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So we took a risk. We went out to Chicago for that show, and we performed, and we came back the same night.
And that's how it.
That's how that
just kept going
relationship
from-
started.
it kept
Was
going from
was the
there.
work ethic, right? We showed like there was a bunch of people there from Indiana, and then here we were the only dudes in Detroit dudes in the building, right? But it was nothing but love, man. It was a good that was a good little show that we did with J.R. Hollywood.
Nice.
So that's how that started.
Another good experience, huh?
Yeah.
Let's talk about back to your music. How would you describe your music? What is the music that you typically create? For the people that don't know you, or the people that are just happening with you,
Right.
what is the type of music that you predominantly create, that you predominantly love to create?
I think I like to write. A lot of people write stories. I like to write about life, the pain you're feeling, right? You know, um, I talk about God in my music a lot. So I think my music's evolved differently now. I don't do a lot of believe it or not, I don't really cuss a lot in my music. I pull the chameleon there. But yeah, it's more of the emotion of what I'm feeling, or trying to tell stories that people could relate with. I think after we did No Me Rendiré, and we started getting a bunch of people doing TikToks on the song No Me Rendiré with JP and Elder, it just motivated me to make more positive music, right? Because when you make positive music or it has a strong message, it might help somebody
Right.
that's going through something.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had people tell me, man, that song really helped me not do drugs today. That's impactful to me.
Right.
When you
Oh.
have people that music touches them a certain way, or like, man, your song motivated me to work out. It's like I can't even get my ass off the couch, and I motivated you to work out today. You know that's great. That's awesome. You know, so that's the impact for me. I think I try to make music for regular people.
Right.
I'm not rich by any way, right? So I like to make music so people that are going through a situation, maybe they'll listen to my music and it'll inspire them to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So lost my track in here. Oh, collaborations, bro. Talk about some main collaborations that you had. Obviously, we've Capone, Conejo, and JP. But what are some other honorable mentions as far as collaborations that you've done with?
I worked with MC Luca. You know, shout out to the city of Mexico, La Ciudad de Mexico, que tranza.
Mm-hmm.
Work with the homie Little Guacho. He's from Yucatan.
Mm-hmm.
Yucatan. Shout out to the people out there in Yucatan. So I worked with him. Elder Futuristico. I mean, I worked with a lot of people, man. Shout out to my man's Rashid. Rashid from Dope House. Me and him got a little project coming up, so did a couple things with him. I always try to be unique when I'm choosing my features.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try to do things that people wouldn't normally do.
Right.
You know, like did a song with my man's Dice. We did a song together, and I just try to be different. Like to me, I see music. If you have a good talent, and I like what I hear, I'm gonna work with you.
Right.
So I don't really care if you're famous or not. But there's a couple people like working with JP. That was great.
Right.
Being able to sit with dude in the studio, being able to sit with Conejo in the studio, working with Capone, recording Raza. You know what I'm saying? Those are, nobody's ever gonna take that away from you.
Right.
But you work with people like doing the song Boss Moves with Dolly Girl.
That was fun too.
Shout out to the homegirl Dolly Girl. Shout out to the homies out there in Cali. Working with people like that. You know what I'm saying? They're legends in their own lane.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
that was very fun too.
The homegirl Lazy out in Guadalajara, able to do the video with Lazy. That was one of the Davis Way productions. So being able to do stuff like that, to me, those are awesome moves.
Right. So let's talk about people you would love to, or you plan on collaborating with. Some people you've kept your eye on and you kind of want to start working with.
I think for me, I really enjoy Santa Fe Clan.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do a song with him. There's a new cat that I've been listening to, Tornillo.
Mm-hmm.
We were listening to him in the car. He's pretty good. Let me see, SPM. I'd work with SPM.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he gets out of jail. Quinto Sol, that'd be a dope feature.
Yeah, Quinto Sol would be a good feature too.
That'd be a dope feature. But I don't know. I guess for me, it's whatever comes, because a lot of times, man, it's people are so focused on the money.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've done so many features, right, and spent so much money. Sometimes I feel like if we're gonna work on a feature, it has to make sense.
Right.
Like before you see people just doing features and features and features, and they just feature each other and all that. But I think for me, it's people that I rock with. I'm not gonna BS you. We're gonna work on something.
Right. And it's gonna be genuine.
But I feel like people starting up in the game or trying to get in the game, and I don't know, if they want to work with me or something. If I like your music, I'll work with you. Just hands down like that. But we have to do it a certain way. You gotta have your BMI. It has to be an original beat.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that hit me up for features, I was like, hey, let's work on this YouTube beat. Man, when people tell me that, I'm like, man, that's so 2011. Like, there's so many producers now. Like, if you can't get an original beat, then I'm not going to work with you.
Right, exactly.
Now I'm going to have to charge you for a feature because I'm going to have to find you a beat. Like, if it's not original, I'm not going to work with you. So
flat out, yeah.
So young artists, if you're starting up in the game, do not hit up a legend or somebody that's already established in the game and say, let's work on this YouTube beat. It's just not going to work out. Now, much respect if you're recording your music, starting off and putting it on YouTube beats. Hey, much respect to that. You got to start somewhere. But if you're going to reach out to somebody, all original. Because if you don't have something original, then you don't have anything.
Right. Exactly. I mean, like, that beat has been used 20,000 other times by 20,000 other artists. You know what I mean? So it's...
I can't tell you how many times I've been to a show and I heard the same beat 20 times
on the same fucking
like,
venue.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. So, shows. Like, when it comes to shows, are you doing anything that's coming up, any upcoming shows or anything like that for you?
Right now I'm not doing any shows.
Nothing right now.
But
now if an artist were to reach out to you, an established artist, for a show, who would you want that to be?
Like
to open up for? So say
an established artist hit me up to open up for
yeah.
them.
Who would be somebody you would love to open for? Because I mean, you've opened for.
Who would funny enough, I would love to open up for Rod Wave.
Rod Wave, yes.
I really rock with that dude's music. I think if MC Magic hit me up, I'd do that show in a heartbeat.
You haven't opened for him, bro?
No, MC Magic, like,
I
if
thought you.
he would hit me up directly. You know what I'm
Gotcha,
saying?
gotcha,
And
gotcha.
would open up for him. I would open up for believe it or not, uh, Kid Frost hit me up. If he would hit me up,
Yeah.
that'd be a cool show to do. But it has to make sense. You know, there's certain shows that you're like, yeah, I'll do it, but it has to make sense. You know,
Yeah.
time and money and these gas prices. I know you're tired of hearing about these gas prices, but all that, you know, it just has to make sense.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so, right, yeah, we're about to close up here in a second. So, the internet. You know, back in the day, bro, where it was harder to release music or to release music on the internet than it is today. Um, how do you feel the internet has helped you as an artist? Has it helped you? Has it slowed you down? How do you feel about it?
I don't think the internet's a bad thing, actually.
No.
I think the internet's a great tool. It's just people probably don't use it properly. You think about the internet. The internet we have access to is just a small portion, and then you have the dark web, and then you got all these other webs, right? But just the internet is a wonderful thing. You're able to get your music heard in different countries. You weren't able to do that in the past unless you were part of a record label.
Exactly.
Anybody that has a Spotify subscription, and I'm telling you, like people in Mexico, they have Spotify subscriptions. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, pay for promotion. If you're able to promote your music, spend the money to promote your music the right way. Spend that Facebook promotion. Do that Google ad promotion. Do any promotion to get your music heard in the places that you aspire, or that people listen to your music. Promote it. The internet's a wonderful thing,
Mm-hmm.
but use it properly. Don't post your music on Facebook and then you drop a song and then you never promote it again. Well, that's a waste of time.
Right.
So I think the internet is a good thing. I mean, you can connect with people, you can connect with producers, you can connect with anybody you can think about. You can probably connect for the right price. That's how I met JP, through the internet. Would I have met him if I went to California? Probably would never met the dude. You know what I'm saying? So the internet is a wonderful tool. I have nothing bad to say about the internet.
He's like, it's my best friend. So, what is some of the best advice that has been given to you?
Best advice given to me is never give up.
Who was that by?
That was by a lot of different people. Yeah. A lot of the homies, Quota, even yourself, Jay, Elder, just don't give up. Keep on grinding. And for me, the advice that I always give myself is just keep going. Talk to the universe. Ask for what you want for it to get manifested. If a lot of people aren't hip, get hip with the universe.
Yeah.
The law of attraction.
The law of attraction, yes.
Yeah, so that's a whole hour in itself to talk about that, right?
Definitely, yeah. So if there's anything about the industry that you could change today, what would it be?
YouTube beats. No, I think I wouldn't change anything. I think the industry kind of goes through waves. The industry is going to
like
change.
Phases, huh?
Like, we're used to a certain phase when we were growing up. But the younger generation, they're used to this phase. They're used to this mode. We're just not keeping up with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't change anything. You have to be the change.
So we have to adapt to it.
Not adapt to it, but you have to be the change of your own reality. Why? Because if you do a certain music, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you might have an audience that you're missing, so you have to create your own reality. We can't change what's going on right now. That's gonna keep on going, and it's a one-way street, buddy.
Right.
It's not gonna stop. It's like the way the universe moves. if you miss your door, you're done.
Yeah, it's like missing the exit on the highway.
It's like if you miss it, if you miss it, you miss that opportunity. So you got to keep on moving. You got to find your reality.
Right.
So that's my thought of it.
No, I mean that's a really good way to put it though, because nobody's ever put it that way.
No,
That's been on the show. Nobody's ever put it that way. So what's next for you, bro? What do you have planned, for Young Profhet?
So, DBR Entertainment, which is the label, I'm gonna release a new project called Barras de Desahogo, in collaboration with Architect Entertainment. We're working on a project together.
Mm-hmm.
7 songs of just Barras de Desahogo, so stress, getting the stress out of your head music, right? So that's coming very soon. We're trying to shoot for Mexican Independence Day, September 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we're shooting for that date. So.
And it's practically already pretty much done, isn't it?
The album's done. We got features from Lil Wacho, MC Luca, Elder. Like we got some nice features on there. It's just gonna be a good album overall. I think there's something on that album EP for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's something people can listen to. We're constantly creating music. I'm constantly creating music, so that's not gonna stop. It's just the EP, something very special that I put together.
Mm-hmm.
The homie Rocky Rocky Graphics. He's getting the cover done right now. Shout out to my mans. That's my brother right there.
Yeah, I love Rocky.
Now we also got another album coming out with Huster.
Mm-hmm.
That's the artist in Mexico that's currently signed to the label. So he's working on his album is done. We're not sure what day we're gonna release his album. That's something else that we're working on.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you have a couple videos that we're working on. So we'll have some new content to put on the YouTubes. So I know Elder keeps telling me to get on TikTok. I don't know a damn thing about TikTok.
Me neither, bro. And what's funny is that Rocky's the one that put me hip to that for the podcast. Okay. Rocky and Brian Ruiz from Grupo Contagio. They were, man, you got to get on there. And I posted a couple, and I got, first day I got like 1,000 views on my very first TikTok. So it's like, nice. I mean, it's there, bro. It's the time to post, the time to cut videos and edit and shit like that. That's the only thing that's definitely another.
It's the avenue, right?
That's
another avenue for you to blow up. You might be TikTok famous.
Yeah, that's it. I literally was just about to say that. Another avenue of income, another avenue of recognition. You know what I mean? Like people. I feel like you get recognized faster on platforms like that.
Think about like all the people that are on TikTok, right? And if you blow up on TikTok, they're gonna come follow you on whatever else you got, right?
Yep.
Your Facebooks, your Instagrams. If you don't stay up with the times, even when people used to tell me like, "Hey man, you got to get a Snapchat." Like, what the hell's a Snapchat? I might sound old right now, but that's again what I'm saying is it's that one-way street,
bro. Like, and that's how I felt when you said, "Hey, download WhatsApp." I'm like, "What the hell is a WhatsApp?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't. Again, obviously, that's another form of communication that everybody uses. Obviously, especially the people down in Mexico, that's a huge form of communication.
And
like
all of Latin America.
Yeah, that's what my pop says too. Like my dad talks to my sister down in Mexico, my grandma, all my uncles through WhatsApp.
But you got to think about WhatsApp is a communication app that's free. So you don't have to pay, right? So that's the easiest way to communicate with anybody in Mexico is, I talk to my wife on WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, yeah.
I talk to my mom's on WhatsApp, and she sends me text messages at the same time. So, you know what I mean? So, when me and you were working on stuff, we were doing kind of the WhatsApp too.
For a while, yeah.
So, find your avenue, find what you're good at, and just keep on grinding at it. You want to paint murals, paint murals.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do music, just do it. What do they say with Nike? Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do the damn thing.
Just do the damn
don't
thing.
don't ask anybody. Don't ask people for their opinion. Take constructive criticism, but do your shit how you want to do it. Don't wait on nobody. If you're doing something and people aren't showing up and they're not putting the dedication, the enough dedication that you're putting on your project, then skip it.
Right.
Move on. Who cares if their feelings are hurt? I'm gonna say it. I don't care if I piss anybody off. If you have a project you're working on and people aren't putting the dedication that they need to put in, or they're not tapping in with you, then move on.
Yeah.
Promote yourself. You know what I'm saying? Work with people that are dedicated, that are gonna guide you in the right direction.
Right.
Don't work with people that are gonna get you into trouble.
Right. Yeah.
You know, when I first started, I'd hung out with a certain set of dudes, and they kind of hold you back. They don't want you to put out music. They just want you to be part of the crew. So you have to make the change.
Yeah.
You have to go out and get it. And sometimes dudes get stuck so much on that, like, oh man, it's because I'm waiting for the homie to let me get in the studio, or man, I'm waiting for this video guy because he's screw that. Like, find people that are dedicated, that are gonna help your vision come to life.
Exactly, that are just as hungry as you are, just as dedicated as you are, if not more.
The dedication has to be there. Like, if you're serious about it, then I'll dedicate time to it.
Right.
But if you're just doing it for fun, or you're hitting me up for a feature and you're not serious about it, or you're not gonna put money behind it, then what are we doing?
Right. Why are we talking? Why are we having this conversation? Yeah.
You know, one of the projects we're working at, shout out to the homie Topo out there in Chicago. We got a song coming out and video we're supposed to be working at, you know, so shout out to him. That song's gonna be hot, man.
Yeah.
You listen to it, it's a hot record.
Yeah.
Shout out to the homies out there in Chicago. So yeah, but the dedication has to be there. I'm to the point where don't waste my time.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, time is money for me. I got a whole job outside of, like I said, from 9 to 5. I'm regular Jose.
Yeah.
And then I have a very small
window
of, hey, I'm gonna be Young Prophet today.
Right, exactly.
I'm family man, work man, and then
the music man.
And the music man. And it has to make sense. If you're not gonna put time and effort into it, if you're bullshitting, I don't want to be part of that.
Right.
I want to be part of the progress. Now, it's different if you say, like, hey, man, I don't know what to do. Can you guide me in the right direction on how to do things properly? Okay, now you're talking differently.
Right.
Now you want to do things right.
You want to learn.
So, all right, if I don't know it, I'm going to guide you in the right direction, right? You know this from experience or working with me for a long time. If I don't know, I'll guide you in the right direction. I want to see artists do the right thing, right? I want to make sure that if you're asking me for advice, I guide you in the right direction. I don't want to steer you wrong.
Right.
I don't want to fuck any people over. Like, I want artists, if artists are serious, I'll help you out. And you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
People come here to the studio that you probably never met before.
Never met them in my entire life.
But they're serious.
Yeah.
So that's important. When you work with serious people, you have people that are going to come back. It's like when you get your hair cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you go to a different barber?
Hell no.
Do you go to the same guy, right?
Go to the same guy.
Because he's dedicated.
And not only that, you trust him.
And you trust him because he's not going to mess you up. No
Yeah.
te va a trasquilar.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important. It's like when you go get your oil changed. Do you go to a different guy every time?
My pops does it for me because I trust my pops.
It's the same thing for me. Like, when it comes to music, there's certain people that I work with.
Yeah.
And why? Because a lot of people are bullshitting.
Yeah. That's how I feel about with graphics. If I can't get Rocky to do graphics for me, I don't trust him. I'll just do it myself. Like, I won't mess with anybody else. And it's not because of money or anything like that. It's just I've known Rocky for 15 years. You know what I mean? So it's like he knows what I like, he knows what I dislike. So it's kind of like you send a one word explanation of what you want, and he hits it on the nose every time. I don't want to have to go through creating that chemistry with somebody else, you know what I mean? Having to go years of learning each other's personalities for them to actually be like, oh, yeah, don't worry, I got you. Whereas opposed, I can just send something over to Rocky and it's done like that. You know, I completely understand. The same thing with video guys, too.
Yep.
There's a lot of dudes that don't only mess with one video guy
Yep.
because that guy's taking care of them, you know?
And for me, you know, Casso, I forgot to mention him. He was a big brother growing up. You know, I respect him heavily.
Yeah.
And he has good videos, but he's doing his thing. I respect his craft. He's doing some awesome videos, right? But I feel like you're a good friend of mine. I respect you heavily, and I want to grow with you. I want to make sure that we make great content.
Right.
So sometimes that's how good relationships start.
Yeah.
You got to work again with people that are dedicated. It's just like beats. Like, I'm very strict on that. Like, there's only certain people that rap off their beats. Like, I don't care if any of these famous producers came, hey man, can you hop on the song? Hell no. I'm gonna work with the people that I'm used to working with. You know, Davis Way, Young Armani, Detroit Lou, the Homie Info. You know, which we just shot that video for. Your Beats, Elder Beats. But other than that, I'm not gonna rock with your beat. You got to pay me to rap on your beat.
Right.
You know, so that's so I only work on certain people's beats. Unless you're paying me for a feature, then it's a different story.
Yeah, that's a different story than you.
Yeah. So and it goes the same thing for anything else.
Right. So what's some advice that you would give to the newcomers, the green kids, the kids that are just stepping into these shoes, into music? Like, what is the best piece of advice for them starting off?
Find yourself a good studio to go to, a good producer. You know, I think but that takes it takes experimentation.
I was gonna say experimenting, yeah.
Because somebody might come to your studio, and they might not like your work ethic, right? And that's just being honest, right? But they might go to some other studio, and they might build a chemistry with that producer. So it's building the chemistry with the right producer that can create a sound for you. If you find somebody like that, that's the guy you work with. But you need to work with a good producer so they can develop you into somebody, or help you build your craft, help you learn how to count bars, and because those are critical components of creating music.
Right.
You have to learn how to count bars. You have to know how to write structured music, because you don't want to look like an idiot. And I shouldn't say like look like an idiot, because that's kind of a harsh thing to say. But you don't want to mess up. You want to be with somebody. If you mess up, take the criticism. I think constructive criticism is something that people don't like.
Oh no, not at all.
Like, you can ask anybody that sat with me in the studio, because I used to record a lot of people, and they'll take the constructive criticism, because something very important is, if me and you are working together, I don't want to put trash out, and I want you to tell me that it doesn't sound good, because we're gonna do it again 100 times till it sounds good.
Till it sounds good, yeah.
And you've been with me in the studio. Hey, hit it again. I don't like how that little how I said that E.
Bro, there'd be times where you're mid-verse, like I'm talking like 7.5 bars in, about to finish your 8 bars, and he'll stop and delete the whole thing. Trash.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Over.
Start it over. How many times I've seen Quota? God damn it! Get mad. Like it's.
Shout out to Quota.
Yeah, but we appreciate stuff like that, because we may get mad in the moment, but then down the line, when we release that, when we get that good take, that good recording, and you think back like, man, that last recording that I thought was good was trash. This he was right, you know. So it's in the moment it is frustrating. It is, because it's like, I'm trying to work, but then at the same time, when you get somebody with that quality of person that cares about what they're recording, that cares about what they're releasing, then it makes you it makes you care a little bit more for not only for yourself and your music, but for the person that's taking care of you.
And,
you know what I mean?
And not only that, if you're putting out trash, you're disappointing your audience,
Your fan base, yeah.
So if you're just gonna go out there and you're not gonna put dedication to your music, then you're failing your audience.
Yeah.
You're failing your producer. So sometimes I feel like that's something that I wish when I first started, people would take the time to work with me and say, hey, I don't really like how you rap that. Because a lot of the studios you go to, you pay for 2 hours. And whatever you got done in those 2 hours, that was it.
Yeah.
And then you got to pay for 2 more hours, right? So that's one of the reasons why we ended up getting our own studio. Because then you could mess up all night if you wanted to, right? So that's another advice that I give new artists. Hey, get you a little credit card. You know, go to Z Sounds. Go to, what's the other one?
There's
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater's that's the spot.
Yeah.
Sweetwater's a spot.
Sweetwater, you can go to Indiana right now. Go to Sweetwater. Go check that place out. It's freaking amazing.
You can go to Marshall's.
Go to damn Guitar Center.
Guitar Center, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But get your own studio. You know, we spend so much money on trash. You know, how many I can't tell you how much money I spent on drinking beers and drinking liquor and getting fucked up and spending all that money. Like, take some money and buy you a studio. Hey, you want to know, like, what should I buy? Hit me up. I'll tell you what to buy.
Exactly.
I'm not going to hide it from you. I'll tell you exactly what to buy to get you a little small studio going.
Yeah.
I'll help you out. Hit this man up. He'll get you together. He knows more about equipment than me. You know what I'm saying? So get you a studio. That should be the mission for all local artists. Get you a studio to record your vocals, and then you might be good. Learn how to mix and master. If you don't know how to mix and master, save time. Send it to somebody. Yeah. That's the best way you can perfect your craft too, is working on it yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
I always say there's three chances at being part of music. You can either be in the recording process, the mixing process, or the mastering process.
Right.
Or you can do them all. You know, but there's plenty of chances for you to be able to have a hand in your own music, whether you know what I mean, whether it's just recording or just mixing. You'll get engineers that you'll send them a mix and they're like, thank God I didn't have to mix it. All I have to do is master it, and it only takes them 2-3 hours to do it. You know, so yeah, man. I remember coming up, the whole buying the studio equipment. You know how it was, man. It was expensive.
Oh yeah,
super expensive. Like, there's been times where I've had to put equipment on credit cards.
Yeah,
I've had to put.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I've had to. There's times where I've had to pawn stuff to finish paying off. You know what I mean? Like equipment. You know, it's been rough. So now it's a lot more accessible. It's a lot easier to be an artist. It's a lot. Honestly, I think it's a lot more fun. They've made it a lot more fun to be creative now. Like, back then, we had to listen to a dozen records to find one to sample, and then turn around and find those instruments to throw on top of the sample, and on top of that, finding an artist to rap on top of it. Nowadays, you've got it all within the palm of your hand, within the tips of your finger. So
I think that's important though. If invest some money, because what you're doing is you're investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and find a good engineer that, you know, I know 2 or 3 engineers in Mexico that, you know, and it's also what it comes down to is how much money you have to spend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could go to a big studio and your music's still gonna not sound that good. So you could go to a small studio and they're gonna have the best production value for bang for your buck, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could go to a huge studio and you're gonna spend money and they might not help you out. They're just gonna record your vocals, right? So I've recorded with microphones that were like 30,000, you know, those big blue mics.
Yeah.
You know, early on I was recording on one of those. You know what I'm saying? But I was spending money.
Yeah.
But now I don't really think you necessarily need that. I think if your engineer is really good, he can, cut the sounds out and make everything sound pretty and
Mm-hmm.
sound beautiful. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's why I stick with working with Elder,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I get this is what I got. A lot of people say like, man, that's a lot of money that you spent for one song, but you're getting the knowledge too. Like, hey man, this is say it like this, or because I've been in the studio with Elder.
Mm-hmm.
So when people go like, if you buy a beat off of Elder, he'll give you studio time, until you get it done, right? And he'll mix and master the song. So you pay per song, right? So the thing is, the knowledge you get with that, what you're learning,
Right.
you're paying for knowledge. You say when somebody comes and fix your AC, you pay them a certain fee, right?
Yeah.
But they know how to fix it, so you're getting knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's why I continue to rock with Elder. You know what I'm saying? So, and when I'm here in the city, I come and work with you,
Yeah.
because I learn something new every time.
Time.
But when I'm at home, then I record my music, I send it to Elder. But if I'm here, I'll come here and record with you.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just and those are the only two people I rock with, and we had this conversation.
Yeah. We literally
right?
just talked about this
we
yesterday.
talked about it. It's also growing with the people.
Mhm.
They're getting better, you're getting better, and you're all getting better. So eventually, when you blow up, better equipment comes around, more money. So eventually, we'll get to the big studio.
Yeah.
The big studio is gonna come. You just got to be patient.
And work. That's all. We just gotta work for it, bro.
It's the work ethic, man.
Yeah.
You got to be patient. If you ain't patient, then go get you a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Well, you
right.
need the 9 to 5
Still
to buy the music equipment.
But you know what? You get the point.
You know what I mean.
You get the point.
Hey, no offense to the 9 to 5ers. No offense to y'all. Hey, shout out to all the hardworking people out there in Southwest Detroit, all over America. Shout out and Mexico too, man. There's
Yeah.
a lot of hard workers out there.
Swear. Well, I think today was a very, very informative interview. It was fun to be back to do this again, man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
been
yeah.
so long. Any shout outs before we end the show tonight? Anybody that you specifically want to recognize?
This is my least favorite part of the interviews, because half of the time I don't remember what I did yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I will say this: shout out to all the homies out there that still rock with Young Profhet and the DBR brand. Of course, shout out to yourself, Tempo
Appreciate ya.
Beats, Southwest Eat. Shout out to you for even making the time on such short notice to get this interview done. Shout out to the homies out there, man, that are grinding. The underground artists that are grinding right now, try to make it happen. Pushing that Mexican rap.
Yes.
I love Mexican rap. That's what it's all about. All the artists that are grinding out there, you know what I'm saying? All the labels that are starting off and helping artists, keeping the music moving. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to everyone creating right now. Trying to make it happen, trying to make that dream come true. Shout out to all the dreamers out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Shout out to all my raza in Southwest Detroit. Shout out to all my raza in Jalisco. Shout out to all my raza in Mexico in general. Shout out to my mans the Davis way, because he's in the building
In the
right
building.
here. Shout out to my mans, man. He showed up. He's always showing love when I'm in the city and we're able to connect. So shout out to him. We got a lot of things planned, a lot of things coming. So shout out to him. Shout out to the whole Architect family.
Definitely. Well, you guys heard it first here from Young Prophet himself. We'll be back hopefully sometime maybe this weekend. I want to get Rick in here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to get So I'll go ahead and I'll be posting the next episode here shortly. But like I said, this was Young Prophet tonight. This is Tempo Talks. I appreciate everybody tapping in with me,